Hello and welcome to another episode of Reading Muggles. My name is Keisha. I have to apologize, we have been MIA for the past couple of weeks. I was not feeling that great, so I couldn't record a video. However, be rest assured it had nothing to do with COVID. It was just not other ailments which seemed to be overshadowed by the whole coronavirus and the pandemic. It was one of those ailments that people tend to suffer over the time, but thank God I'm on the mend and feeling a lot better than I was 2 weeks ago. Couple of disclaimers at the beginning of the video. Any opinions mentioned in this series is ours and ours alone. You are welcome to disagree, but please do leave a comment below letting us know how you feel and think. It's always good to have an open dialogue. That's how we progress as a society. That's how we progress as human beings, to understand somebody else's point of view. The other thing that I wanted to mention was my apologies. I was hoping to do a kids-based series today. However, my daughter was not ready with the book that she wanted to present as yet. She's still reading a few books. She has a few books ongoing at this point in time. Next week, what I'm hoping to do is I will get her to do a kids-based TBR, like her books that she's planning to read in the near future, what's ongoing, which are in progress. So I'll get her to present those series. So maybe your kids can check in next week. For today's video is going to be a really short one. I just wanted to present some books that I was hoping to finish this year as a part of my 2021 goal of 12 books. Some of them are rereads, some of them are self-help books, and some of them are brand new books which I heard really good reviews from the amazing book reviewers that we have on YouTube. When I was surfing through YouTube, there were some books that were just highly recommended, and there are people out there in YouTube who do a way better job than I am. But again, I took their recommendations and I picked some of the books from there. So without further ado, let's get started. There are three categories of books that I want to present today. One of them is the self-help. Second is the reread, like I mentioned, couple of books that are falling in the reread category. And the third is the new fantasy series that, as I mentioned, were recommended by other YouTubers. In the first category, the book that I want to talk about is How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. So this is a book that I have started. Please don't go by the bookmark. I just shoved it in there. I'm not a big bookmark person. I don't know about you guys. Let me know if you use a bookmark on a regular basis. I have tons, but I just tend to remember the page where I left off and just go from there. My daughter always keeps asking, how do you remember where you are? I said, just remember the page number. So bookmarks, love them, hoard them, don't use them that much. So what can I say? But yeah, so this is one of the books that I want to read. I've heard really good things about it. I have just started it. I will do a review of it in one of the future videos and let you know what I feel and what I think. The other book that I have is not a paperback. It's an audiobook. Let me know your opinions about audiobooks. It's Girl Wash Your Face. Again, it's one of those books that have been highly recommended. I want to read them. The one thing about self-help books that I feel is like I don't devour self-help books like I would a mystery novel or a fantasy novel. I won't do that. I have read self-help books in the past. My all-time favorite is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. But it's one book. I tend to read it, absorb it, try to implement those principles in work and daily life. And you literally use it. It's a tool. To me, this is not so much a book, it's more of a tool. The other thing too, I'm planning on doing in 2021 is actually start making notes within the books. I'm not talking about fantasy novels. I wouldn't ever do that. I don't like writing in books. I don't like writing in margins. I don't like highlighting. I rather have a little notebook on the side and make notes of it, but I feel like it's getting a little cumbersome. And only for the self-help, I would do that. I would actually want to try and see making notes in the margins or highlighting or, putting a little post-it about a particular chapter that might have, jumped out at me more so than the other chapters, or one particular message that I'm like, oh wow, it's mind blowing. I want to implement that. I never thought of it that way, for example. So yeah, that's what I want to do with the self-help books. I wouldn't do so much for my other novels. So for self-help, 2 books, You're a and Girl Wash Your Face, which is, I'll try to put a picture of it somewhere here on the screen so you can take a look at it. The second category of the rereads that I want to do this year is Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I love Neil Gaiman. I love his books. I've read a few of his books in the past, and they are always amazing. Not everybody's cup of tea, I feel, like Neil Gaiman. Some people, I know we read this as a part of our book club, got mixed feelings. I loved it. I'm not denying it. I love Neil Gaiman. His favorite book that I enjoyed the most reading over and over again is Good Omens, which I know a lot of you know about it out there, which he wrote, I think, in conjunction with Terry Pratchett. Love it. I've had that book for over 30 years, and I'm so happy to see it being turned into this amazing series on Amazon Prime. David Tennant, Michael Sheen, you cannot get wrong. This amazing, I can't think of any 2 actors who could have done justice to that series. Love them so much. So Neil Gaiman, this is about a middle-aged guy who comes back to attend a funeral, his childhood home. The home is not there, but he's more, what draws him to it is the farm which exists at the end of the lane, and his childhood memories, which he starts to relive. I don't want to give too much away about the book, and the reason why I want to read it is, to be very honest, I enjoyed it a lot, and I also feel that I did not get the full depth of the story the first time I read it, so I want to reread it again. I will do a detailed review of this book in the future, so look for it after my second read and what lessons I may have drawn from it. So keep an eye out for that one. The other book that I want to do a reread, which was again a part of our book club, was A Man Called Ove. I heard that this is being turned into a movie. I look forward to it. The rule in our house is read the book first, then watch the movie. Then watch the movie that is made on it. This one, it's funny, serious. It's a really nice book, and I want to read it again because again, same thing. I feel like I could get more out of it reading the second time around. And with me, the first time is always, a rush. Second time is when I start to actually read with more focus, with more intent, and I tend to pick things up more. Again, a story about an elderly gentleman who's, as we know, as older we get, more grumpier we get, and how he views things, and his old-fashioned, no-holds-barred view of how he sees things and events and the world. Like I said at the beginning of the video, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's good to hear somebody else's point of view. And I liked it. It was very well received in our book club. So yeah, I would recommend anybody who wants to read it. I'm going to reread it again because I feel like I can get more out of this book. The last category that I want to talk about today is the fantasy books. I love fantasy. So one of the first books that I picked up from one of the YouTubers that recommended it, actually quite a few did, is The Sword of Kaigen. This is actually a prequel to the Theonite series. It's by M.L. Wang. And the Theonite series, apparently it's out there. People know about it. My apologies, I'm not aware of it, but this got good reviews, so I want to read this out. I have started it. To be very honest, it is a little hard for me to get into it, but I am not going to give up. I want to finish this off. It seems to be very rich in the background and the characters so far. I can already see it. It's a very deep book. It's going to take me time. It's not a small task. It's big. But I intend to do this, finish this off, and I'll do a review of this book. And I know I'm late in the game because these books have been out for a year, 2 years, even maybe before that. But there are people out there who've done reviews of this book. But on my channel, I'll be doing it in the future. As soon as I finish this one, look out for a review for this one. The second book in my fantasy series, which is even a more daunting task than Sword of Kaigen, is the Priory of the Orange Tree. This is a standalone book by Samantha Shannon. And from what I have heard, she's actually planning on writing most probably a sequel to this. But again, like I said, this is a standalone. You don't need to wait for the second book to understand for the story or anything like that. The thing that I like about this book, based on the reviews, was this is one, at least in the books that I've read, one of the few which are more female focused. The story is more focused on the females, their perspectives, their stories. That is what the focus is on from this book. So it's has a more of a feminist flavor to it. So Priory of Orange Tree, remember what I said, is the name that drags me to it, and this is one. When I was browsing through YouTube channels, book reviewers, they reviewed a lot of books, but this one stood out because of the name, and it's a daunting task, so I don't know how long this will take me to finish. If I was younger, I would have said 3 days, but I don't know how long this is going to be now. The last one in the series, a book that I want to talk about today, that is part of my 12 books a year, is Justin Cronin's The Passage. Now this is part of a series. This is book 1. Book 2 is called The 12, and book 3 I think is called City of Bones. I may be mistaken. I'll clarify that. But this one again was highly recommended. Want to read it? We'll do a book review. Keep a lookout. And yeah, this is the one. Very different than the Priory of the Orange Tree, Sword of Kaigen, The Passage. All three of them seem to be very distinct in and of themselves. And let's see which one. I'm really looking forward to all three of them and see, because they're so different, and see how they turn out. So these are the 6 books of the 12 that I want to finish in 2021. If you have any recommendations of which you would like me to read a book and review it for you, please leave a comment down below, and I will definitely consider it and see if I can include it as a part of my remaining 6 books. I haven't decided what those 6 books are, so please go ahead, recommend, and I will review it, and I can do a review of it in one of the future videos. In the meantime, please, if you have not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you're notified the next time a new video is uploaded. And please give us the thumbs up if you like this video. Would appreciate your support. In the meantime, please stay safe, stay healthy, and wear a mask.